오야 다드네 다 디베 토브나 디차송 디베 디베 토브
네 디베 토브 뻔버자 게워 신인테 버자 디베 신인
게워 신이 차주로 와 디베 토브 뻔차 신스로 와
나오나
디베 토브 신이티 아니 지 나도 땅 원진도 같이 거려 와 디베 토브 세대 한대지랬잖아 바 디베 토브 세대 라고 쳔버로 신한차로 다양 지피게 된대기 그대 중국으로 했는데 용마됐어 간다 다 디보 미티 레리 제알이야 아니 지 비구만 챙겨다 디톨이야 지 비구론 챙겨지나 다티도 디베 토브랬어 수수 빈자이네데 워심바 이네데 즉 가리네 토고이네 남주 토고지 돼야 된대 이네데 간다 디보 미티 레 제알이야 토 챙겨들 디베 토고스 마도지 디베 토고스 동제서 신나차고 콜라라고 유대로 된대케요 하게요 말했어 그때 된대 중앙 qabla 아니 임도 독지 제요 말했어 임도 제가 독지 제요 아니 소소에 디고사야죠 아니 밀리시엔에 뇌제 용야 아니 자니하고 용구요 말했어 제가 이내 콜리에 막아와친 지 가보면 된대 제요 콜 자와 쳐거랬어 봐 근데 그게 신제 탐제리 자주 리다 무슨 순제 자와 쳐봐 맞지 아니 디베 토고 이내 안 제베 양고를 상기랑 되면 왔다 그래서 디인도 콜레 저와 저우리 이내 코다님도 독지친 되듯은 지금 말했어 하고 동안은 줄래 통고 최념는 고중에 있는 디베 토고다 잼과에 시작해 좀 쳐야 돼요 그랬어
The last thing which we have spoken about in the last teaching was to refrain from bad action, from bad friends, from negative friends. So of course we should recognize what we need to do is to recognize who is a negative friend or a company which is wrong for us. So it doesn't mean that it's someone who looks like frightening or someone who is particularly ugly or someone who looks like the devil. This is not a bad friend, but rather a bad friend is someone who encourages us to create non-virtue. So this is what a negative friend or a bad friend means. Someone who encourages us to create non-virtue. So it can be a relative and it can be a friend or someone who's just in our close circles. Anyone who encourages us to create bad actions. So if they encourage us to harm others, to behave in a negative way, this is a negative friend. So it says that we should not be close to people who behave in negative actions. So it doesn't mean, of course, that we shouldn't have love or kindness towards them. But because we want to have love and compassion to all sentient beings, not only to our friends, but also to the ones who are enemies or people who behave in negative ways. So when we refrain from negative actions and we do not befriend this kind of people, it's not that we have aversion or hatred towards them. We still have love and compassion, but we do not befriend them. We do not hang out with them so that we don't create negative actions.
기회신이 때 다드네 기회신이 다드네 나한테 되는 비게 대화시 중인데 아니 탐제 중에 아니 그게 시자스네 민도 대 탐제기 되는 비게지 봐 지대는 대비 윤데 탐제기 아니 계획 자왔디 아니 계획신이 되는 좋아인배 아니 가서 쉬는 신이 도와시고 예시고 윤데 하버 준지 뭔가 좀 아니라도 또 저여든 조업은 댄스는 신기 되는 비게 준된기 아니 계획신이 친이 상황 지금 나한테 되네 아니 고순 고백원에 아니 지금 삼조 편조니 이거는 되니 그게 땡거 같다. 시작해 좀 그랬어.
So we need to rely on virtuous spiritual friends. So we need to rely on the ones who are the source of all virtuous actions, who which are mundane or super mundane, who encourage us to develop these qualities. So the spiritual teacher. The teacher is the source to all these good qualities. That's why it says on page 33, don't befriend those who act in harmful ways. Instead, rely on true spiritual friends. So it says that a virtuous spiritual friend is someone who subdued his mind completely. He's got more quality than the student. He's got a wealth of knowledge, and he has true care to the disciple. They've got wealth of knowledge in scriptures, and they never get tired of teaching the Dharma. And so a teacher who has got these qualities, we should rely on him.
Lama 다른 쳐봐 때문에 그것도 남다른 거 로진 그게 신고가 쉽게 좀 찾아야겠어. 제일 된다 근데 스트레스는 다지 제시게 좀 무슨 처리로 와. 아니 나한테 된다는데 근데 스트레스는 뭐 이게 담도 남다 때리는 먼저 하고 들어와. 그것도 뭐 밀라마베 밀라마베기 남아 된다. 개고 쉬워 열어 봐. 남다.
So the text says to rely on spiritual friends, on spiritual teachers. So the way of relying on a spiritual teacher, there's a lot which is said. So we can learn how to rely on a spiritual teacher by studying the biographies of the great masters of the past, like Milarepa and Marpa, and the Bodhisattva who always cries. So there are many stories who speak about how he relied on his teacher, and the story of Milarepa, who relied on his spiritual teacher Marpa, and the way he did so. In general, we can learn a lot about the way we rely on our spiritual teachers by learning from the past, the masters, their life story.
당당 미디사 방식 강도 배워줘서 강아 차고 방식이 차고 내버지 차고에 된도 미토지 타베서 좀 줄었지 서로 다 아니 아주 되게 최면에 시사로 다가는 신이 되게지 간대지 구구여서는 아주 되게 장면에서 산에져로 산에 아니 가지고 됐다 이게 담지 장마 봐 좋아, 다 추전의 신이 금지장마. 아니지 그게 다음에야 되는 그게 대보면서 다음에 신이지 그게 딘데기다 즉 하자마 요거다. 좋아. 안 딘데기 산에 있는 딘데라 아니 대조 폐야 파시는 대조 녀미야기 내가 친구고 됐어. 세상 다른 걸로 봐 되지. 아니 최근 튠베 튠겐 상세지리야 아니 이게 대조 쟤는 대조 폐동 거 됐어. 근데 이게 가서 유 지리야 아니 대부치는 반내 되지 저거です다나 신기티 나랑 그게 루롱주 년이도 안 담년다 그봐 같이 그게 수수께다 있는 빈자 가마 빈자 어디 빈자리야 차고도 차신 충당 됐어 마 차신 충당 내고です 마도지게 타 차과생이 되기 아니 원도다 니네 타버도 탐지킨 버 토해야 아니 편도 자원이 됐어 제가 이 타버 탐지킨 버 탐지 아니 쩌버지게 시도부터 차과에 통해 제가 이 차과 비가고 방치고 됐어 자신 내려 봐 내려 됐어
네.
It says, drop any feelings of hostility or ill will and be happy wherever you choose to go. Avoid getting attachment to anything at all and stay free from craving and desire. Attachment not only keeps you from happy births, it kills the very life of liberation. So we aim to find a place which will be conducive to our Dharma practice. We want to live in this place with our pure samaya, where we can keep our samaya as pure. If we abide in a place which is not conducive for our Dharma practice, where the society who is around us is also not supportive of our Dharma practice, it will be very difficult for us to keep our Samaya vows. So therefore there's also an importance to the place where we choose to practice the Dharma as a beginning practitioners. It is good to find a place which is slightly isolated, which has good and conducive conditions for Dharma practice. It is good to we should want to stay in this place in a comfortable way, so to have physical health, to have all the means that are necessary for us to sustain our practice. So we want to refrain to have less attachment. We want to try to have less attachment and to reduce it. And we understand. So the text says to try not to hold anything, because attachment disturbs us from achieving nirvana.
착보 매번 내버 찾아래. 착보에 된도 톰이지. 된도 미톱징. 탑에 쏘장 줘버치. 강도 계획 추통와 대니 따도 매버차. 토마 잠바 가인 뭐 당분이도 줍자디. 대단한 군리지 신도 니가 주민 줄사. 따도 딕베. 안 되리샤. 대차 따도 딜라 가제차 신서르와 따드네 가슈그래 디리샤 따 타베 르와 착베 아니 비게 지 마란주 아니 비게 온도다 닐레 토야 파시아니 아니 착베 드니 비게 탁베 가주 착베 아니 탁베 소 남아서네 초버치 그레스 제잔 디 인도잖에 가슈그래 다디 차르와 어디 차르와 레레 땅 알아줘 되니 비게 디임버다 차베든 루토메지 강도 디외 추도 버티니 땅 알아줘 되니 비게 유두 내가 강도 되니 비게 디외 추 토베 르와 디외 추 폐하게 아니 산에 통에 대체 아니 비게 빵고 노분이바 난신게르와 아니 난신게 되니 비게 가슈그레다 우비 노던 채바 신도 따도 아니 매바 침부권에 엔다 조부레스 그봐 수수 제조 회사가 산에 야고 통배이나 그봐 소순 다운 규비 산에 들라 대조말 송송한 단계 다 소수 유두 내가 거두이네 예외 추 야고 주스지 산에 통이네 디 다가라는 양 하나 내치네 아니 비 방구 노부 니번나 신기 nganzu za chimbu tsini ani rwa ani kashu ureta sane del deni ani rwa nyamle ya bezun chores motirisha
Then it says on page 34, should you find a way to peace and happiness, strive constantly to put it into practice. Whatever task you set out to do, accomplish that very thing first. This way everything will turn out well. If not, nothing will succeed. So what we aim to do is to reduce our attachment and grasping, because it will be difficult to achieve higher rebirths and liberation, and finally also enlightenment. So therefore it was said before that attachment keeps you from happy births, and it kills the very life of liberation. So we want to find a good place to live, and once we have found this place, we want to keep it, so that at whatever time we will be able to develop we will be able to develop positive qualities. It is just like a poor person who finds a precious jewel. It's like the jewel has fallen from the sky into his lap, and he looks after it just as very dear. So in the same way, we want to keep these conducive conditions for practicing the Dharma, so that we can develop the qualities. So it's not that we need to go around the whole world in order to find this place where we can practice. But just when we experience such a place which is conducive for our Dhamma practice, this is the place that we should try to stay and continue practicing as much as possible, positive states of mind. So we want to do that with great effort.
아니 지금 냠세치는 제로이나 아니 거리네 좀 하도록 해야 내가 전부 요랬어. 지금 뒤인데 방rim신 그와 중이 셰르는 신이 되는 진바 주주니 그와 중도 선대 시러스 완전 고도단디 고미 로다 참바단 고치 이게 우리네단도 뛰니까 그림지 댄셔요. 이 전신적으로 마도 지기 디마인 버체 아니 지금 가는지 진바단기들이 되네 그게 주주니 아니 소대님이 되게 정말 냠시 제거이네 아니 소수 되게 주에 되나 아니 따다지 용토가 됐어 토마 가리 냠내지니 뒷 가리 임바텔 네 디네 아니 무튼 파 저거야지 대신 소리야 됐어 고린도 따다 셔야 됐어 배는 나는 좀 냠내니 좀 엄지이네 그러면 아니를 배는 띵해지도 주로이네 아니는 신기 주고 아니 군도 주고 아니 랜드 주고 영어 주고 그거 반지 여러 코디 시순 좋더니 조금이 얼마든지 냠세 제리나 고 다다스 대토기 얼마です세상에 인부잖아 말하는 되니 그게 가시고 그래 가르치고 당고 딜래야 아니 대타친 것이 아니 저것이 정말이야 방진 제와이는 아니 야고 준거 됐어 대마 중에 탐제 미족 때 가시고 냠세 진이 제리나 아니 저니가 좀 두고 말했어. 아니 당고 여기 뒤에 공야고 두고 말했어. 아니 예바이 친구 용시에 예바이 친구 용시에 그랬어. 어떻게? 데려도 와. 자와데. 당고님도 좀 제때 데려와. 강도 대외 출동원 되니 따도 되겠지. 토마자바 한인바 당고님도 그렇지요. 대단한 그 신도기가 되는 따도 되고 no that is some no
So it says, should you find a way to peace and happiness, strive constantly to put it into practice. Whatever task you set out to do, accomplish that very thing first. This way, everything will turn out well. If not, nothing will succeed. So this means that we should do things according to the order, the right order, to practice correctly. If we want to develop our mind, if we want to subdue it, then we do so according to the 6 perfections, for example, and we shouldn't mess them. We shouldn't mix the order of the different practices. So, for example, when we practice the 6 perfections, there's a great importance to the order. We should do so first according, first generosity, morality, patience, concentration, a joyous effort, concentration, and wisdom. So it makes sense. There is some logic in the way that the 6 perfections are arranged. If we practice them in a first generosity, then morality, patience, joyous effort, concentration, and wisdom. If we do that in the correct order, it will also help the mental development of the practitioners, and it will be conducive to the practice. If the order is chaotic, if it is not arranged properly, then we will not get the correct result from the practice. So this is similar to the order of the shamatha, the 9 stages. So the first stage is placement. The second one is repeated placement. The third one is patch placement. The fourth one, continuous placement. So these are the 9 stages of shamatha, of the placement meditation. So in the same way, we should practice in a correct order. If we mix the order, we will not be able to achieve the result that we aim for, and also the ability of our practice will be less. So therefore it says, whatever task you set out to do, accomplish that very thing first. This means to follow the order of the practice. If we do it in this way, everything we do will succeed. Otherwise, nothing we do in our practice will succeed.
Gadi. Tadu diwe gandhi je kandu tone sim jungse dezi ngade jago cha kaza jacha shin chamse dangwa jamba cha chamse dangwa jamba cha sa 오래 담세 담가 담바지 슌베 센이 중에서 센이 또 버지 나도 많이 쓰는 거 담세 담가 담바 자사 다드네 되죠 다 가서르베 마란주 아니지 그게 디지로 와 나란도 되네 그게 뒤따도 되고 미게 레라 가वे 아니지 가지고 데이터 뒤따도 되네 되고 미게 레라 가वे 센다 다 제고 그랬어 봐 다는 신 유두 거두 이내 양 그도 유두 거두 이내 양 라니 아니지 그게 신제 신발레 토에 삼바스네는데 캠베 삼바 그거 심 거두 중앙 뒤 값을이야 아니 라니에 준비 중에 계속 다 담이 쉬는 거지 와 나게 공부를 인도 치마제 추마제 소원은 시 계속 통신 아니 대단 나게 좀 뒤세 체만이도 아니 봐 쇼바치 짜가지 그랬어 짜가자 나도 이거 되게 한데 통에 센지 대진 아게 짜서시 잠시 당라 어디도 되고 한데 토에 센지 대진 아게 맞자고 그랬어 근데 알아봐 아게 맞자고 그랬어 아니 가시 그래 어떻다
So the second verse on page 34 says, "Never take pleasure in acts that harm, and when thoughts of superiority creep in, there and then deflate your self-importance and recall your master's personal advice. Or whenever you feel discouraged or inadequate, raise your spirit and encourage yourself, and always meditate on emptiness." So it could be that in particular situations we will feel kind of superiority, we will feel some pride. So when we feel better than others, we kind of disparage. So these feelings, they're an obstacle for us to create qualities, to develop our minds. So then when we realize that our kind of superior feelings arise within our mind, then we should apply the antidote to deflate your self-importance.
잠시 당와 참바차 준비 승리 중에서 승리 되거든요. 데리베지 가지고 그래 말한줄 아니 네 소수 연대 신에 된다라 소수래 되게 미교 소수래 미 지가서 그래 되게 세제 연대 진용 저는 소수 세제 연대 총을 이내 양코 프로프라니안 담마지 셔요. 잠시 되게로 담마요 쓰고 그러고 어차피 뒤는 근데 이게 담마 렌스지는 텔레양 먼저 90천 이게 디톤 렌트를 적으로 마도 마시 소수직 규체와도 소수직 민체와도 소수직 이게 또 무슨 소보이는 제교 어떻게 수 만내는 게 소수 경우です. 이게 일단은 딱 기내수 렌트です. 일단 이게 무슨 900원에 봐. 아니 이게 가지고 그래 렌트です. 그래서
So when you feel kind of self-importance, recall your master's personal advice. So in Tibetan, this is called the Lama's personal instructions are called a kind of Brahmin advice. So then we feel, sometimes we feel self-importance, we feel better than others. At these times we need to find ways to still see that we are less than others. That even though we feel arrogant, we feel better than others. In other ways, we can see ourselves as lesser than them. And if we see ourselves as lesser, as lower, then we will see them with great respect. As it is said in the Indian culture, as like the Brahmin. If there's someone from the Brahmin caste, then we have respect to them. So this is how we should relate to other people, with respect, as though they're Brahmins. So it could be quite difficult for us to do so at the beginning. So we will always try to get the best for ourselves, and we will feel that we will often feel that we're better than others, but we can still try and generate respect by remembering that by feeling humble and by not feeling that we are the best, and we do so by reducing our arrogance.
신제지 그게 싫어하지 안주 간투도 야고지 안주 간투도 그게 지금 제일이네 미저바님도 미마비 미 부자는고 유튜브에 되게 그게 파 가져 야고지는 수면밖에 파직 잠정으로 오람 가져 지네 수 데리아 투지세야 파션 단도지 이르밖에 그게 제일은 안주다 그래도 심슈 차지 그게 뭐 shum밖에 내가 전부 열어 제가 뒤에서는 다티 지겨 말했어 이 제일 나도 쇼버스 예세 전주 셈버스는데 두 남녀 한 그게 지금 봐. 다 예세 전주 셈버스는데 카디고 신지 탐제 소자 정말 무슨 순진이야. 이 제에서 뭐 타지고 지금 손에 봐. 투지침도 깡신 능고를. 능고 그 신지 배다 제님 뭐 신지 말아 신지 자방 친구. 그다 먼저 제디 윤디잖니. 아니 먹는 전주 셈 명도 봐. 사 그냥 사실 나오면서 셉 가서 셉다도 생기세요. 딜에는 다 되는 거. 사다도 생기세요. 주주선을 내 광고 같은데 가서 그래. 아니 전주 있으면 냠야 누구요? 이 냠에 가르에서는 밑쪽에 년다 치죠. 밑에도 냠이 시투 있는데 그 통신 차이. 그래서 이 무슨 이제 지금 슈퍼티기요. 더 줄이 좀 됐어. 어떻게 단대치 되더라. 가야 슈르 신이 주는지 생기신 생되신 수주 고백 인생하고 끝이 수수수로 인터리스 해야 되더라. 뭐도 지기 아니 배트
Or whenever you feel discouraged or inadequate, raise your spirits and encourage yourselves. So, especially here when we try to confront particular situations of benefiting others, of helping others, we need to keep the correct perspective. Many sentient beings still have quite a rough way of behavior. It is negative sometimes. So sometimes we try to benefit others, but instead of them being grateful, then they even harm us. So this situation can discourage us because we want to benefit them, but actually they harm us. So if we feel despair, then we're actually losing. We're losing the battle. We're losing the love and compassion which we aim to develop within our minds. So we generate love and compassion to all sentient beings who are as limitless as space. They have all been our mothers in previous lives, and we want to generate love and compassion towards them. But if they do not repay our kindness or express any gratitude, if we give them up, then we are creating an obstacle to our practice of love and compassion, which lead to the mind of enlightenment. There is the risk that we will feel that we can't generate the mind of enlightenment. Maybe we give it up. So by the generating the mind of enlightenment has got particular stages, and the first stage, is the earth-like mind generation, or the second one is the gold-like mind generation. So the first one So the first one is just like the basis, which is like a soil, the land, and the second one is like gold. So on the first stage, there, once we have generated bodhicitta, there is still the risk that it will degenerate. It is not stable. So if we regret the kindness that we have done to others, and then we give up even just one sentient being, then by this bodhicitta has degenerated. So if we give up the mind of enlightenment like that, then bodhicitta degenerates. On the second stage, which is bodhicitta, which is like gold, mind of enlightenment cannot degenerate anymore. So we need to encourage ourselves in various ways to never give up on attaining enlightenment for the benefit of all sentient beings. So the rest of the text, Rinpoche is suggesting that we do tomorrow evening, while in the morning we'll do the dinner. In the morning we'll begin at 10 o'clock, and before 11 we'll finish, and then we can continue as normal. So from 10 to 10:45, I'll probably do the preparation, and then till 12 o'clock the initiation. And then in the afternoon we'll do the continuation of this text. Yaki is translating what was said. Yeah, Tal is gonna get a heart attack now, Yaki said. So Rinpoche wants to begin with the Jenang because it takes a long time, like he's saying. So some people are asking whether it is possible to explain what they're taking upon themselves tomorrow in the Jenang initiation. What is
I'll repeat that in English. Also, if we put
what are the commitments?
In taking upon oneself the Jenang, is there any commitment or any requirements that we get together with the Jenang? Is there any sadhana that we need to be reciting? I think that rather than asking, is there a particular commitment, the question is like, what should we do after we receive the Jenang? Okay,
every day is do the Miksema meditation. Oh, we need to do 100,000 Miksema.
של 100,000 חזרות על בית שיש לו 4 או 5 שורות שנקרא מיקצמה. 100,000 פעמים כל יום.
ngara lega mangu yor de changa de yong des de sun ji de wan se bu ores te kelen de ta
After all, if you think about it, we have invited Rinpoche to come here from far away in India, and Rinpoche is very busy in India, so he has found time, and it's a lot of effort.
זה בא מחויבות
So
מסוימת.
it comes with a particular commitment.
חזרות על מקצמה.
So we need extremely good, she said.
아직 켈레 미세슈 켈민도
So there is no particular commitment.
가서 근데 사변나도 되게 너무 많아 아니 조나 다소소 미즈만 이마지를 참고지 강풍에 야고
So if you can recite it once a day, it's good. Or 21.
무실을 찾지
The minimum is 7 or 21.
이게 켈레로 미세게 너무
But other than that, there is no commitment.
또 리송 좀 버려도 버버체레시 주주 좀 가져 건다 주주 잡배야 버버체레시 아니 차나 도지 대다 아니 뭐지 들어도 인제 좀 거봐 뒤가 주주 있잖아 안돼 됐어요
So tomorrow Rinpoche will give the Jenang, which is subsequent permission. There is no particular commitment that we need to take with this particular subsequent permission. It's not that we need to read a particular sadhana or a text every day. Rinpoche still recommends for whoever wants to say this Miktema verse, which we will say tomorrow. Maybe after the teachings, Miyaki can explain it to us a bit. So if we say it every day, we can do a whole mala of 108, 21, or 7 times the verse. It is not necessary, but it's just Rinpoche's recommendation. So Rinpoche, Yaki also asked Rinpoche, what is exactly the initiation that we're going to get tomorrow? So it's Lama Tsongkhapa is someone who combines, who unites the three deities, the deity Manjushri, who represents knowledge. There is Chenrezig, the deity Chenrezig, who represents love, and Vajrapani represents ability, and the three of them all united would be Jetsongkhapa. He holds the three united, and that will be the Jenang which we receive tomorrow. So it's a Jenang which combines the three lineages, that's what it's called.
아니 다래 안 저디 제나 선이디 제리순지도 지나 마지고 참말로 굴ung 야고 쪼가 에베케 점브레 아니 지리 남바산지베 추임비 짬드미남 템보 대나네 드네베 태와침베 추임비 전주기슴 미남 대나네 상아 추고 임베 아니 전주기슴 미남 템보고 에베케 점브레 아니 굴ung 가산 쉬어나시 로와 닝구년다다 아니 지피게 된데기 삼바 매버티 개침부래
So since we begin first with the Jenang tomorrow morning, it's very important that we set a correct motivation so that it's positive one. So that since we're practicing in secret in the Buddha Dharma, then our motivation should be combined with requesting refuge. And because it is a secret mantra, our motivation should be that which is combined with the mind of enlightenment. And in particular, since this Jenang relates to secret mantra or tantra, it is extremely important that we generate the mind of enlightenment as our motivation for taking this Jenang. So we should be separated from the 8 worldly dharmas of gaining fame or possessions, etc., from any of these wrong livelihoods. So it is really important that tomorrow our motivation for the Jenang would be as pure as possible. So that's all I have to say. When we receive the Jenang, the initiation, we create a particular connection with the teacher. So this connection between the Lama and the disciple. So we need to make sure that the way we rely on the spiritual teacher is correct. Rinpoche says that he just wants to make sure that he isn't forcing us to rely on him as a spiritual teacher. It is completely our own decision whether we want to rely on him or not. We don't have to see him as our spiritual teacher, but if we take the Jenang, then it means that we have decided to rely on him as our spiritual teacher, and then from our side, we need to make sure that we do it properly. So there are many lamas, and each one has got a particular way of explaining it. It means that it could be that in the future you will meet a teacher who will explain things in a different way. It's just this is his attitude. It could be that in the future you will meet someone who explains the connection between a lama and disciple differently. Could be that you will meet someone who says that even though you haven't taken from me an initiation, a tantric initiation, you still need to create a connection between Lama and disciple. Could be that someone will say that, but what Rinpoche is saying is the way he sees things. Thank you.
Kewan Juzun, Losan Chakwa Yi, Tempe Nyingbo Rendo, Seji, Sho, Chanju Semcho Rimbo, Magye Banam, Kegyoji, Kewa Nyamba, Meba, Kone Kondo Pewa Sho, Kanri Rave, Kowe Shinga, Pendan Dewa, Malu, Jumene, Jere Senwa, Tenzin, Shabe Sede Bado, Tengyoji. Nangwa Chile, Chuju Yewadan, Losan Tempe Jume, Joe Mize.
Sange Shinto Mitebuwa, Dogu Nanda Shinla Chopa Sho, Guru Rata Mandala Kamni Ataya.